professor at the University of Oregon. I'm the director of our ShakeAlert and Alert Wildfire program. Thank you. So I'd like to talk to you about both Cascadia, the really big one, and the link between what we're doing with ShakeAlert and Alert Wildfire, which is something that can help with our frequent hazards that we have in terms of fire. First of all, ShakeAlert, what is it? ShakeAlert is a name given to the West Coast Earthquake Early Warning System. This is a system being built out by the USGS and a consortium of universities, including Caltech, Berkeley, University of Washington, and University of Oregon. The ShakeAlert system can give a warning to the public before strong shaking arrives, and that warning can be on the order of tens of seconds to minutes. The Cascadia subduction zone goes from Cape Mendocino up to Vancouver, and if a magnitude 8 or a magnitude 9 event begins in that region, the Portland area can get approximately 3 minutes of advance warning, Seattle approximately 5, and the Eugene area approximately 2 before the strong shaking arrives. This earthquake early warning systems, they've existed throughout the world for decades now. Mexico's had one for the past 25 years, and they built theirs after an earthquake occurred. Japan built theirs after the Kobe earthquake. And this is an example of a video from a recent earthquake in 2017 in Mexico City. You can hear the alarm in the background. They built their earthquake early warning system after an event that occurred approximately 25 to 30 years ago. Our goal along the West Coast is to have ours up fully operational before an earthquake occurs in California or the Pacific Northwest. There are a number of things we can do with an earthquake early warning system that help with people, things, and situational awareness. In terms of people, they can move to safety. They can take advanced efforts to drop, cover, and hold. Studies after the Northridge event and others in California over the past couple of decades indicate losses in terms of cost to health care on the order of $1 billion to $2 billion because people were caught unaware before the strong shaking arrived. Also, mental preparation. There are a number of things we can automate so that we can actually save infrastructure and have it come back online more quickly after the event has passed. We're working with a number of partners, and I'll describe that later, in automated controls of both power generating facilities and water. We can slow and stop transportation and isolate sensitive systems and processes that may be occurring from hospitals to construction sites. In terms of situational awareness, it provides our first responders with real-time operational picture of what's happening in the field in terms of where the strong shaking might be, and they can take actions before infrastructure is affected. We know after the Loma Prieta earthquake that many fire trucks were caught inside fire buildings simply because the doors were shut and the building was ajar afterwards. So with tens of seconds to minutes of warning, we can take advance notice. What I'd like to do now is say what we've accomplished since Oregon joined ShakeAlert in 2014. And it was approximately 4 years ago that I also testified in Salem here for an appropriation that was made by the state to purchase some sensors. And we've made quite a lot of progress in that time in just the past 4 years. In 2013, on the left-hand side shows a map of the seismic network in Oregon that was sparsely populated at that time. Our neighboring states, Washington and California, were well ahead of us in terms of building out their seismic network. Fortunately, with strong congressional support, both within the federal government but also the state governor's office, the state purchased 30 high-quality sites, 30 high-quality sensors at 15 sites from what was called the Cascadia Initiative, and made that a permanent component of the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. We've been able to leverage that investment successfully over the past 4 years, and also other capital investments made by DGAMI through the Strong Motion Seismic Program. And now the map that you see on the right-hand side shows the sensors that are contributing to ShakeAlert. And I think you can see there's been a dramatic increase in the number of sensors in Oregon that are providing data in real time to the ShakeAlert system. I want to point out that we have a very good deal with the USGS. Any capital investments provided by the state, EWEB, or other private agencies, the USGS then takes over the installation, well, mostly the operations and maintenance of those sites. That recurring cost is obviously going to be larger than the capital investments made by the state or private entities. So that's a very good deal for the state of Oregon, and we've been leveraging that over the past 4 years quite successfully. While we've made tremendous progress, both with support from the state and our congressional delegation in D.C., the network is not built out to an extent that is going to allow alerting to the public. And I want to explain that to you in some detail. The technical implementation plan for ShakeAlert requires approximately 1,600 stations in California, Oregon, and Washington. Currently, we have about 650 of those contributing. The priority has been given to metro areas in California and also in Seattle. The map on the right-hand side shows both the plan, which includes all the symbols, and the black ones indicate the ones that are currently contributing to ShakeAlert. And as you can see, Southern California, San Francisco, and if I uncover the yellow dots in Seattle, those three metropolitan areas are well covered. The state of Oregon has a much sparser distribution of black dots in terms of the ones that are contributing in real time. The build-out in Oregon depends upon the investment, both in the technical investment to install the infrastructure, but as I'll say in a few minutes, also in the education and outreach, because that's an important component of this system. In terms of building out the ShakeAlert network in Oregon, there are currently 73 seismic stations in Oregon contributing to ShakeAlert. We require 127 additional stations to be at 100% operational for the technical implementation plan. Currently, Oregon is only 37% towards that full build-out, and we will not be able to provide any alerting to the public until we are at 75% minimum build-out, and that's a requirement set by the USGS, the federal alerting agency in this case. So while we've made great progress in the past 4 years, it's clear that we have a ways to go before we can provide alerts to the public. When will ShakeAlerts be available to the public? The rollout's going to go something like this. It's a phased rollout. In 2018, we have pilot projects that will be announced throughout this year along the West Coast. In 2019, depending on some software that's being developed for apps and also the WIA system, LA City itself will start implementing public alerts. And in that case, it's going to be to LA City employees, not to the full public in the city of LA. When network is built out at 75% and the communication, education, and outreach activities are well underway, then Southern California, Northern California will do public alerting. And perhaps the second bullet down below is the most relevant, is that subsequent phases begin when the technical and CEO milestones are reached, and the timing depends upon advances in the wireless alert emergency system and cell phone apps, and that's beyond the USGS control. We heard Andrew Phelps talking a little bit earlier about the WIA system, and that's ShakeAlert will also use that. I want to point out on this slide that Pacific Northwest will be probably the last to come online in terms of public alerting. So why is it that Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle are first, and Portland and the state of Oregon are left behind? Partly, they were further ahead when the state of Oregon joined this system. And it's also because their states have made considerable investments in building out that system. California contributed $10 million in 2017 for the purchase and installation of seismic stations, and some of it went to the outreach work, which is essential to using ShakeAlerts properly. This year in the 2018-2019 budget, there's $15.75 million in the governor's budget, and you can see in the bullets below that portions of that are being used for outreach to science teachers, communication equipment, and also looking at gaps in the research and outreach components of this system. The California Integrated Seismic Network receives approximately $1.5 million per year, which they've been receiving that for some time. That has helped them advance their seismic facilities. And the state of Washington provides the University of Washington, the university-operated seismic network in Washington, of approximately $600,000 per year. I want to point out that statewide coordination has been really essential in these past 4 years to how we've progressed. And I want to highlight some of the statewide coordination that we've had, and this has been, for us, a really rewarding aspect of being involved in ShakeAlert. Is first of all, the state of Oregon provided the money in 2014-2015 to purchase the 30 high-quality sensors at 15 sites. The governor's office has been ensuring alignment of messaging and goals across ShakeAlert, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network at UO, state agencies, and regional stakeholders. ODOT we have an intergovernmental agreement that allows UO and the PNSN to operate on ODOT property and utilize ODOT telemetry. That's essential. Telemetry is the backbone of both ShakeAlert and Alert Wildfire. It's an essential component because it brings back data in real time, and being able to partner with ODOT on that is important. The Department of Oregon Geology and Mineral Industry has provided UO funds from their Strong Motion program to support station build-out, and we use that money to leverage additional support from the USGS for operations and maintenance. We work closely with the Oregon Emergency Management Office in developing a communication, education, and outreach plan for the state. This is really important because with tens of seconds to perhaps minutes of warning, the public needs to know what to do when they receive a shake alert. The message right now is drop, cover, and hold, and I think Representative Boone has seen some of the emails in the past few weeks, and it's been discussed. What will the message be in the future when the system's fully built out? Is it drop, cover, and hold, or do you evacuate unreinforced masonry buildings? That's an important discussion to be had. All the experts in the state need to come together and have that discussion, and then we need to educate the public on how to respond to that. We work with the Eugene Water and Electric Board. They provided funds both for station build-out. They're one of our pilot projects. They're concerned about some of their power generating facilities and dewatering facilities along the Leeburg Canal, and they're trying to automate that so that when they receive a shake alert, they can take their generators offline and save that critical infrastructure so it's available afterwards. We develop pilot projects across the state for ShakeAlert. Some of those pilot projects include eWeb, as I mentioned. We're working with the ODOT Bridge Division to put traffic signals on bridges in Portland or along the coastal highways so that if an earthquake occurs and strong shaking is going to arrive, they can stop traffic from going over that bridge. We're working with our university in terms of their power generation. RH2 Engineering is a private sector company that does automated control for water and electrical facilities. The Rogue Valley Council of Governments, we're working with Synapse, which is a alerting group out of Portland, private sector company that distributes alerts. And we also have a number of K through 16 pilots that are being developed with the University of Oregon, Portland State University, Linfield College, and Beaverton School District. These pilot projects are really important for us because this is a new technology coming online. We want to know how both public and private sector stakeholders are going to use the shake alerts so we can work with them and make sure that we improve that system along with their needs. I would like to point out that the Oregon Committee on Communication, Education, and Outreach has really done a fantastic job. We have about 30 stakeholders from all across the state involved in this, and they really have been influential up and down the West Coast. I think they've actually been leading the way in terms of CEO, and it's an important aspect of what we do here in the state. I want to now go on to Alert Wildfire and ShakeAlert and talk about a multi-hazards platform that increases state resilience. I want to tell you why these two are linked. The benefits of linking ShakeAlert and the Alert Wildfire programs are as follows. First of all, it hardens the telemetry backbone for ShakeAlert and improves state resiliency. Right now, we need to bring data back from remote locations across the state in less than a second or so for it to contribute to ShakeAlert. We're using a number of different methods for that telemetry, including cell towers and Internet of Opportunity. As you know, cell towers are not the most reliable way of doing this. So we're installing microwave telemetry throughout the state because that is the most robust and hardened way to bring back data in real time. When you install microwave telemetry, it allows you to up your bandwidth significantly so that we can do, in addition to the seismic data, bring back high definition pan tilt zoom cameras that can be used for wildfire detection and suppression. Our goal at the University of Oregon is to try and build a single system that supports multi-hazards throughout the state. Because we require this hardened telemetry for ShakeAlert, and because it has such high bandwidth, we can do fire, earthquakes, landslides, water quality, met conditions, and we feel it's prudent for the state to find a way to collaborate across all the agencies in the state that are interested in bringing back data from remote locations, build out one cohesive system. Another advantage of this, and I'll show it to you in the next slide, is that Alert Wildfire is leveraging funding sources from the private sector that can save the state significant money in building out this system. And we also feel it pulls together the technical and human resources within the state that improves our ability to coordinate and respond to hazards. So what can Alert Wildfire do? Discover, locate, and confirm fire ignition. Quickly scale fire resources up or down appropriately. Monitor fire behavior through containment. During firestorms, help evacuations through enhanced situational awareness. What I want to point out about that is all the cameras for Alert Wildfire are available to the public to view. That would have been quite useful in the recent fires in California last year if the public could have seen the cameras and know how the fire was advancing and not have been caught unawares. So if you go to alertwildfire.org, you'll see a page there for Oregon, but you'll also see it for California, Nevada, and other locations, and the public can see those cameras, can see time-lapse, and can see how things evolve, so that provides them some situational awareness. In terms of our sponsors and partners for Alert Wildfire, this is a consortium between the University of Nevada, Reno, the University of California, San Diego, and the University of Oregon. Our funding sources are diverse, and we see that as a strength of this system because it helps distribute the cost. We're working with the Bureau of Land Management, the National Forest Service, and National Science Foundation. The utilities, particularly in California in the past year, have come on significantly. San Diego Gas and Electric installed 16 cameras in September 2017. SoCal Edison has a pilot project. This is just an initial pilot project that's $10 to $15 million to deploy 160 cameras, and we anticipate that's going to be announced here in the next week or two. PG&E, this slide's already out of date since yesterday. They have a pilot project which they have signed on for 9 cameras. They've expanded it. The utilities are concerned about both their infrastructure and their liabilities, so they're helping us expand this system. And we've begun working with the Central Lincoln County Public Utility on a pilot project along the Oregon coast to install a wildfire camera. Counties also, we have contracts now with Sonoma, Marin, Napa, and we have a pilot project we're developing with Lane County, and there's a number of stakeholders and communities, and if you go to the alertwildfire.org website, you'll see a list of people who are buying into this, and we think it's an advantage because it's a system that's well funded across a number of different federal, state, local, and private sector, and it helps distribute that cost, and we think that can be a money saver in the end. Both of these projects, Alert Wildfire and ShakeAlert, provide an opportunity for statewide cooperation, and that's something that I think has been really rewarding in the past couple of years. Just within the last few months, we've met with the following groups: the Central Lincoln County PUD, Harney County Wildfire, the Lane County Sheriff's Office. Just last week or the week before that, we met with Douglas Forest Protection Association, Coos Forest Protection Association, and ODF. We're working with the Eugene Water and Electric Board, the Oregon Department of Transportation, OEM, and Department of Geology and Mineral Industries. This is really an opportunity where we can cooperate across the state, and I'd like to say a little bit about the conversations we had with DFPA and CFPA and ODF a couple of weeks ago, because they have a fire camera system that they installed about 12 years ago. They were actually one of the few sort of visionary groups. They started 12 years ago with a system that they've been using in Southern Oregon. That system is sort of pre-internet in some ways. The technology could be upgraded. It could be moved to a microwave technology that provides a higher bandwidth. And we had some excellent discussions looking at how we could coordinate and cooperate together. In the future, we're looking at potentially some pilot projects in their area. And there's a number of things they're really interested in maintaining. They have experts on site. One of their goals is to quickly hit a fire as soon as possible because of the resources they're trying to protect in that region. So I want to make sure that they, if they work with us, that there's some way that we're maintaining the expertise they have in their teams down there. They're also interested in digital communications. What comes along with the ShakeAlert and Alert Wildfire backbone is the ability to have digital communications, which is really important with your people in the field. And so I'll leave it at that and say that we've really been reaching out, trying to find a way that we can cooperate across the state with all the agencies. We think we're well on the way towards that, and we're looking forward to advancing that in the future. Just to summarize and finish off, with regards to ShakeAlert, we've had good progress since 2014. The state investments have really accelerated the network growth, so if you were involved in that, thank you very much for those previous investments. We feel that we've done a pretty good job of facilitating statewide coordination across both state agencies and private sector stakeholders in the state. Shake alerts will be available to Oregon when the network is at least 75% complete, and the communication, education, and outreach program is well underway, and we're in close discussions with the GAMI and OEM about what that means and what we need to do for our state to make sure that the public is ready to receive shake alerts. With regards to alert wildfire, we will be installing microwave throughout the state to harden that system, to harden the shake alert system. And when we do that, when we install that microwave, it provides an opportunity to also bring along the alert wildfire. This is a system that diversifies the sources of funding for hazards detection and monitoring, and we feel it may have benefits to other stakeholders in the states, and we look forward to working with them. So thank you very much, and willing to take questions.